Hey everybody, I'm Madalyn Sklar, host of the Social ROI Chat, and we're here today with Mike Allton. Mike, how are you doing today?
Great. How you doing, Madalyn? Good to be here.
I'm good. It's good to see you. Gosh, it's been a while. I see you once a year at Social Media Marketing World, usually in a hallway for like a whole minute, maybe
I know.
not even.
That's exactly what happened. We literally passed in the hallway, fist bump as we walked by.
I know. That was so funny. So, now with the conference slated to be even bigger, I'm hoping that, we'll still get a chance to do one fist bump, maybe two. So, definitely hope to see you there. We brought you on to talk about blogging and social media today. We had a really, really good chat. The topic was blogging and social media. How do they complement each other? Oh, I thought it was a really interesting conversation today. But before we dive in, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I'm a blogger, obviously, and I run the social media hat, which I had a lot of fun creating that name and that brand. And now, 5 years later, looking back, I'm like, well, gosh, that sounds like all I talk about is social media, and that's not true. I love to talk about blogging. That's actually my favorite topic. But I do talk about both, and I also talk about email marketing and a little bit of SEO. Anything that's within that content marketing umbrella.
Right. I just always view you as like the blogging expert. You really know your stuff. That is for sure. But it was interesting having a conversation where we kind of talked about both blogging and social media. I really find it interesting that, blogging used to be like the thing, like you had to get a blog. And with social media evolving, things have really changed so much. Why don't we go into some of the questions that we had during the chat? We can get a little bit more expanded thoughts from you on this. And for those that are watching live, first of all, thank you for everybody watching, whether you're live or watching the replay. But I do see we have a great group of people live that came over from the Twitter chat over now to the live stream. If you have a question, feel free to post it in the comments right below us so we can get the opportunity to have Mike answer it. And if you guys would do me a favor, take a moment and hit that share button right underneath the video. If you share this out, more people can see all this greatness, especially with Mike. I mean, we've got the opportunity to have Mike share such vast knowledge that he has about this topic. So my question number one was, what does the relationship between blogging and social media look like in 2018?
Yeah, and we touched on a lot of different things, and
yeah,
the participants in the chat. It's always so much fun to be in a Twitter chat because you bring someone like me on to be the expert, but there's so many people who are involved in these chats who are in there doing it day after day, and they know at least as much as I do. So that's, I learn a lot. One of the things that I talked about was video. Seeing, I think, more and more people using video like you're doing here and turning that video into written content. You mentioned a moment ago that it seems like blogging is less important. I don't remember exactly what you said, that there are fewer people blogging, maybe something like that. And I think that's a perception, but I don't necessarily think that's what's actually going to happen, because what we're seeing is that with video, short form video is still immensely popular and growing in popularity. Right. But you don't see people watching 2-hour videos, right?
It's true.
And so it's really
unless you're Casey Neistat, like some of those big people, or like Tim Ferriss with those like super long podcasts, people are into. It seems to me that if you're a certain person, if you're like a big star, they'll watch however much video you put out, or podcast, or any of these platforms. They'll listen to it all. But sorry to interrupt. That made me think of that.
That's a perfect observation, because if you don't know who I am, you're not going to listen to me for 2 hours, right?
Great point.
You have to earn that trust. You have to earn that willingness on the participant part to invest that much time. And so with video, it's somewhat harder to establish yourself, and it's harder to communicate a depth of information. Whereas in a blog, I think it's a lot easier to write that long form content and allow it to be found and surfaced by search engines and so on.
That is such a great point. Um, now, what are some common misconceptions that people are having about blogging and social media?
Yeah, and the second one, which is actually the one that I see most often, is businesses they use social media as an advertising platform, right? So
Right.
they literally are just spamming their product links. I had a consulting call today with a client where I'm trying to help them understand what they should be doing, because what they shouldn't be doing is what they are doing, unfortunately.
Right.
They're just spamming their latest products. And people don't go to Twitter to shop. They don't go to Facebook to shop. That doesn't mean they won't make a purchase
Right.
as a result of seeing something, but they have to be in the mindset. And the mindset is not that they're shopping. The mindset is that they're there to talk to their friends or find latest news or something like that, which means you have to use Seth Godin's phrase, you have to interrupt what they're doing and pull in their attention in a way that's going to make them amenable to a sale. And so that's
Right.
something that's got to be taught and learned. But that's definitely a mistake or a misconception on the part of businesses.
Right. Yeah. Great point. I noticed there are a couple of questions coming through here. So let me kind of back up in these comments, make sure we don't miss them. When you were talking about video a few minutes ago, Dorothy was asking, how long of a video do you recommend? Because we were talking about like those video lengths. So what do you recommend for video length?
Well, I am by no means a video expert. So I'm going to steal from Amy Landino, whom you and I know,
Uh-huh.
Amy, right?
Amy
And
Schmidt-Tower.
would say, I think 3 to 5 minutes is kind of
Yeah.
the quote unquote ideal length. Now that's going to vary from business to business, from audience to audience. So like I say, with everything else, test, try different things, try shorter videos, longer videos, what have you. A lot of it's going to depend on what do you have to say, right? If you don't have
Right.
5 minutes worth of something to say, then don't talk for 5 minutes, talk for 2 minutes. And be done. But if it's also this kind of a format where you have an interview style and one or more guests that you're trying to draw information out from, those are going to tend to be longer. They're going to be 20, 30 minutes or more. Honestly, most of my interviews are 45 to 15 minutes or more because I talk a lot about this stuff. I'm really
Yeah.
into blocking. So there's some rules of thumb, and I'm sorry, Dorothy, I'm not really giving you a really solid answer other than Amy's recommendation of 3 to 5 minutes. That's based on kind of general audience willingness to give their
Right.
time, which is what we were talking about before.
And I definitely recommend her new book, Vlog Like a Boss. For those of you that want to learn more about video vlogging, she has a really great book. And I'm a big fan of audiobooks, and it's available on Audible. So I've been listening to it while I'm walking the treadmill. There it is. Look at that. Vlog Like a Boss. So Dorothy, definitely go check that out. I think you'll find it very helpful. I'm currently listening to it every time I hop on my treadmill. Cheval asks, what do you see more businesses live streaming this year to grow their blog?
Yes, and I love
Good
it.
question.
Even though, like I said, I'm not a real video guy because I love to write, but I see for businesses so much potential when it comes to video, particularly live video. And it usually doesn't take more than a couple minutes to sit down with any particular business and brainstorm how can they use live video. You're a real estate agent, okay? Why don't you live video walkthroughs of homes that are you're putting on the market and show off some of the best features of that home in a live video and let people ask you questions while you're walking through. And pretty much any other industry, we can come up with some other kind of use case. They might not all be sexy and exciting, who knows,
Yeah.
but they'll be interesting.
Sure.
And to the right audience, it doesn't necessarily have to be exciting. I don't write exciting content. I don't think. I write about,
Yes, you do.
I write about content and I write about email marketing. I think it's fun, but
I do too. I do too. Is that a nerdy thing that we think that's fun? Because I like it.
It's exciting in a nerdy way.
Yeah.
But we make it interesting, and that's really the point. We educational. There's value to it, and I think that's the bottom line.
Agreed. And I'm noticing there's some more comments coming in. Jim had said video is like writing. The length relates to what it takes to tell the story without getting long-winded. So that was going back to video length, which I think it's a good point. And Brian, this might be, I don't know if this will fit on here. He says, and this was back when we were, there's a little bit of a delay when we're talking and then these comments are coming in. But Brian says, good observation in terms of people tuning into an hour-long YouTube video or longer podcast. I'm also listening to James Altucher's podcast. I really started liking his podcast. He has a new episode that is like 4 hours, I think it was, some crazy length. And I listened to the whole thing, but I listened to it in spurts. I don't listen to it all at once, but it just goes back to if it's someone you're really interested in, you'll listen to everything they put out. But he says he thinks that some of the bigger content creators are just really trusted, so people are willing to dive further in than the average article. So that's so true. I don't know if you know Brian Honigman. He's a great influencer. If you guys don't know each other, y'all should definitely meet Mike because he's great. Comes down to sharing quality info with a distinct perspective. I think anyone can emulate that approach, but there's a lot to it, of course. So great point, Brian. Thank you for sharing that.
That's a great point from Brian. And also, echo what Jim said. He also pointed out that your video needs to have a story.
Yes.
And that's something
that's
that
important.
A lot of people have struggled with. And ironically, I see it the most with the literal story feature. Talking about Facebook and Instagram and all, they have these stories that you can create. And people aren't creating stories. They're just sharing the same pictures they'd share to their profile. Just now it's a quote unquote story. And I'm like, where's the story? What's the point of sharing this? I'm not learning anything about you or anything like that. So I think that's a great point, Jim. Whenever possible, try to weave some kind of a story. Have a point.
I agree. And, taking what Jim said and applying it to when Cheval was talking about live streaming, I cannot stand going to somebody's live stream on Facebook and they start off with, oh, let's wait a few minutes until people show up. Where is everybody? Hold on. And I'm like, dude, get to it already or I'm going to leave. Start talking. I don't ever just sit there and wait. It's like, you're going to get people in the replay later. They'll see you. And really for those that missed the first few minutes, if you're smart, you'll just go to, as soon as it's over, go click back on it and watch those first few minutes that you missed. But I think it's important to start right into it and get your story going. I think there's nothing worse than that. It's like, I don't want to sit and wait with you. I don't make those live ones most of the time. I'm usually watching the replays. Question number 5 was, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. Is it beneficial to have, I love this question, by the way. Is it beneficial to have the same audience on your blog and your social networks?
Yeah. And it was interesting because there were some nuanced answers.
There were.
Mine was just straight up, yeah.
Right.
You want that same audience. You want that synergy, that's somewhat sameness between them. So that way, when you're talking about topics that relate to your business, that relate to your content on social media, that can easily translate into links to blog content. That means when you're sharing your blog content to social media, there's a natural interest there. To give an extreme example, if all I do is talk about Apple products on social media, and then all of a sudden I share an article about Facebook, there's a disconnect there.
Right.
I want that social audience to be engaged and interested and, frankly, waiting for my next article. And that's the thing that I think every writer should aspire to.
Right. I totally agree with you on that. This was another question I really thought was really good. Some people like to use long form social media posts instead of a blog, Medium, with Facebook, you can do the notes, although notes didn't really take off.
No, and it's sad because they've buried it. They made them.
It was kind of cool.
And gorgeous. So now notes, frankly, are as beautiful as a Medium, blog post. But you can't.
And it's gone
as a Facebook user, and it's frustrating.
Did they just do away with it, or is it buried in the navigation? Because when we're done with this video, while the video is right there. But, you know, as they go further down the feed, if you want to go find them, like you have to go digging through the navigation and pull down menus, and then you can actually get to all the videos in one spot. So did they do that with the notes, or are they completely gone?
It's just buried. You got to
Just
go to
buried.
the file and click on a drop down box, and it's
Too bad.
with multiple clicks, buried where nobody would look. I even tried to put mine in the links area on your Facebook file, but that they want that for a social network, so it didn't work. It didn't look good. Because I've tried to use my notes. I like them. I know, like Mark.
Yeah, me too.
Constantly.
Right.
Of his blog content, but to get to that question, you know, the answer is absolutely not. You cannot use social media instead of a blog. It's putting your entire business at risk. Now, if you're just on it for fun, that's fine. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to this guy over here who wants this to be part of a business, right? And you don't own your Facebook profile, you don't own your Twitter, you don't own your Medium or your LinkedIn or any of those kinds of third-party hosted platforms. You do want to own your business, and you want to own your content, your most important assets for that business. So that has to be on a blog or some kind of platform that you control. Now, that's not to say that you can't do both. You can do long-form social and blog content. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can syndicate blog content. You can create the long-form social first and then push it to the blog if you want. What's probably most successful, and yet, of course, the biggest challenge, is to have different content on both, right? So you create long-form blog content that's designed to funnel readers in a way that your business supports, and you would create long-form social content. Like LinkedIn's a great example where this works so well, where you can build your brand authority. So the content ends up sounding or looking a little bit different, right? And it's written a little bit differently. It's usually more thought leadership type content, I would say. But that's kind of the ideal, and it's a challenge because it's time consuming.
And see, I love that we've got Medium and LinkedIn posts and all these places where we can put the long form, but I strongly believe we should have the blog. And I mentioned in my tweet that really your blog will be an archive and you own it if it's on your .com, if it's on a website you own, versus rented land, which is everything social media, Medium, everything. It could go away tomorrow. Doubtful. But if it did, here's an example. Back in the olden days when there was MySpace, and I know people laugh when they hear MySpace, but I used to be in the music business and it was a great platform for us. I used to use the blogs, and then one day they did away with the blogs, and there was a really good article. I had a publicist write for me, and it was the only place that it was located at. And I was like, oh my gosh, this article's gone forever. And I was really disappointed. And it taught me such a valuable lesson back in those early days that, like, okay, you cannot rely on these rented spaces that we don't own, that you got to have your .com, which is your website and your blog. So I'm a fan of taking my blog post and putting it on, the LinkedIn, publishing it out on LinkedIn and putting it on Medium. But let me ask you a quick question. I've read that for SEO purposes, they say do your blog first and then wait a week or two and then put it on Medium and put it on LinkedIn. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I would definitely say you need to have your most important content on your blog first. Now, whether you have to wait a week or not, that's very subjective, because what we're really talking about is whether or not Google has had a chance to index your blog content and understand within their algorithm that that's the original location of that content.
Okay.
So if you have the kind of setup in your site that it automatically pings Google every time you have new content, you can immediately just go copy and paste on the Medium, like within moments if you want to.
Oh, okay.
You could go to your Google Search Console and do a fetch as Google on your new blog URL, and it will be indexed immediately. Or you can wait a day, or you can wait a week and just assume at that point that it's happened. I mentioned Mark earlier. I believe he waits one day.
Okay.
He publishes on his blog like on a Monday, and then Tuesday it's in his Facebook node and wherever else he syndicates.
Good to know. I think it's interesting with the whole Google and the indexing, and so I think that's important to know. Um,
Can I go back to
yes,
something that was interesting to me? Because you
sure.
talked about the change in MySpace, which was probably like,
Yeah.
I don't know, 2009 or something
A
like
long
that.
time ago.
And you're to be forgiven for that mistake because you didn't know. Today,
Right.
2017, I don't think anybody has that excuse because we've seen it so many times.
Right.
Twitter bought Posterous and within 8 months shut them down. That was 4 million bloggers who suddenly had no home whatsoever. Twitter bought
I
Vine.
remember that.
Same story again. They shut down Vine.
Right.
And millions and millions, hundreds of millions of Vine users suddenly had no
Yeah.
home. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were able to export their content. Fortunately for them, they were given that much notice. So it wasn't a total loss, but
Right.
they lost their home. It's
Exactly.
just like a fire that burned everything down. Okay, well, you saved some stuff, but you still got to move. And so that's a lesson that we should all know and learn at this point.
I agree. And exactly. Yes. Like back in the earlier days, we didn't know any better. Today, it could happen. Don't rely on these platforms if something changes, because I mean, look at how Facebook has drastically changed pages and organic reach is like 0 now. So, you have to stay up with what's going on with these platforms.
Right.
Mike, this has been really great information you shared with us. I really appreciate your time today. Twitter chat was just awesome today. You shared such great insights, and now with the live stream, what is the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Oh, well, I usually just tell people go to my blog, thesocialmediahead.com. I'm on all the social networks, so if you really like to follow people on social, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and so on. I'm still on MySpace, hoping maybe something more useful to me than it is now.
It's like, is MySpace still there, still around?
It's still, in fact, it's for musicians now. It's for the music community.
Yeah.
I don't think it took off the way, because Justin Timberlake bought it, right, with some friends of his.
I remember he bought it, but I thought it went away. Like they were trying to revitalize it, but then I thought it kind of went under after. I didn't hear anything else after all that.
Yeah, they rebooted it, and it was beautiful.
It was different.
It was a really beautiful platform. I don't know that it ever really did what they were hoping it would do, which was to have a community for artists and their fans, to have a little bit more of an intimate connection, and easily see things like road trips and concert schedules and so on.
Right.
But I am still there. I'm still there. So, but yeah,
that's great.
SocialMediaHead.com. And what I love about that is no matter what you want to learn, I've touched on it in some way. And if I haven't, you can leave me a comment or send me a message, and I can direct you to somebody who knows more about whatever it is you're looking to learn about.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. Really appreciate it. We will have a Twitter moment recap in place shortly. We will also have a recap on the ManageFlitter website in place soon. So you guys all look for that, and Mike will be sure to tag you. And for everybody watching this live stream, just a big heads up. We are celebrating 1 year of this awesome Twitter chat of SocialROI. We're so excited. Tomorrow is the official 1 year anniversary. So we decided to put together a live stream, and we invited some of our past guests and some of our chat regulars. So I hope everybody will come and join us tomorrow at 5:00 Eastern. And we will be right back here on the ManageFlitter Facebook for a really fun event. So I hope you all join us. We're going to have the ManageFlitter team come join me and talk a little bit about starting this chat with me. We're going to have a bunch of regulars and some cool guests, and it's going to be fun. So I hope you guys will join me, and we'll also see you again next week with another chat. So thank you all. We'll see you around. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. And bye, Mike.